Good morning, everyone. We are here for another interview. You know how this goes. And the reason we're doing it is David Andry has yet another book. This is a Sacramento creator who has given us such things as Resonant, and Morning Star, among others. He has a new book coming out this Wednesday. And of course, we will have copies. And of course, David will be in the shop doing some signings and telling you about his new book. Welcome yet again to the show, Dave. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Ben. Thanks for having me on and hosting me yet again for another signing. It's a tradition now.
It is, and this is fun. We've already got people who have requested just pop the book in their box. So right off the bat, you're going to have to sign some that are already in savers in case I forget.
Awesome.
But of course, everyone's going to want to know more about it while you're in the shop. They're going to want to pick up some of your other stuff if they haven't, which I'd be very surprised. What? How many books have you done now?
I just did a count. I have it up on my whiteboard right here because I'm starting to get to that age where the memory is not as good as it used to be. So we had like Resonant and then End After End. So that's 2, Denizen 3, Morning Star 4. This is 5. So this is my fifth creator-owned book, and then also did an issue of Creep Show, which of course is Image and Skybound, and then a couple of anthologies, and then 6 of my own self-published books, and so yeah,
That's fantastic. Because
I
you were plugging along on the small press circuit for a good while, and
yeah.
now things are going great. You moved over to Vault, and then you've been coming out through Mad Cave here recently, and you also have a pretty good partner in crime on these things lately with Tim.
Yeah, Tim Daniel, my co-writer on Morning Star, End After End, and on this Crush Depth, and pretty much every single other book we'll have going forward. It's just too much fun to co-write. We're just having such a good time, and it's uh, I don't know, it's like having a really like a partner, helping you out, and you guys are, both moving towards the same things and helping each other, keep stay motivated. Comics, Ben, because you do your own comics. This is a marathon, and you can get frustrated and burnt out, and it's really helpful to have someone there kind of on your team, that can pick up the slack or just be a cheerleader when you need a cheerleader.
That's awesome. That is great. Now, then, since I've never co-written like you guys do with just two writers,
Yeah.
what goes into that? Sure, I'm sure there's a lot of spitballing before you come up with an idea, but then how do you get the like ground running, or how do you hit the ground running?
We usually just will have like long conversations about, what the idea is, and what the kind of emotional stakes or the character arcs or things like that. We like to get to like the heart of the book before we really start thinking about like plot and things like that. Because we always want to have an emotional core, be character driven, have our books maybe be saying something socially. So we have a lot of conversations about everything about the book, about why we had the idea, or where the idea came from, and like what things we're trying to explore with that idea. Like for example, Crush Depth. A big exploration of Crush Depth is fear, and how do we deal with fear, and how do we overcome fear. So there'll usually be some kind of like character or emotional core to each book that we work on, and then we just kind of figure it out. Every book has been slightly different, which is really interesting, and we just kind of we mesh really well, and we flow into the parts that the other person maybe having struggles with. Sometimes Tim will hand me a full outline for an entire series because he was just inspired and he knew exactly where it was going to go, and then I'll try to fit in character development and other kind of things as I want to put myself into that book as well. And sometimes I'll hand him an idea and like the first issue, and I'm like, this is where I see it starting, this is where it could go, and let's work on that. So everything's been a little bit different, which is kind of cool,
Mhm.
but we have such a good friendship and such a good working relationship, that there hasn't really been like any conflict or stress. We can both put our egos aside a little bit if the other person has a better idea, and like, okay, we're going to go with that. And it's usually worked out for the service of the book, making the book better. So I feel like it makes the work easier and it makes the stuff better. So
Well, what about the script then? Because coming up with spitballing and talking about the idea is one thing, but who writes the script?
both. So some typically what we've been doing is I'll do the first draft like a vomit draft, and it won't be broken down to pages and panels. It'll just have what happens and then the dialogue, because I love doing dialogue. So I'll usually do almost all the dialogue on the first pass, and with minor tweaks, that dialogue usually stays in place through all the drafts. And then sometimes I'll send it back. I'll send it back to Tim, and this is of course after we've discussed exactly what's going to happen. Sometimes you take little side roads and stuff, and usually that is cool and works out for the better. But we've already discussed like what the issue is going to be, what the story is going to be, and so I'll hand them the vomit draft when I think it's about an issue, and I have a pretty good feel for on a rough draft what feels like an issue, where there's some space for the artist to work. There's a good kind of cliffhanger ending. And so I send that to him, and he'll either just do refinements on that vomit draft or send it back to me, or actually start to break it down into script panels and pages. And
Gotcha.
and then we kind of just refine that script back and forth once or twice, and then we're usually good to go.
And that is kind of nice to have the two people then, because it's like you're getting an editing process from both of you before it even reaches an editor.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes you pick up that stuff that an editor would have picked up. Like you accidentally made 2-page 14s, and it's like, oh, okay, what do we do here?
Yeah. Well, we got to condense.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we all make little errors and stuff like that. So it's really nice to have, again, not just a partner and a friend and a mentor when I need a mentor, but also someone that's acting kind of like a safety net that's going to catch you before you send it off to an editor. So yeah, we typically don't have a lot of edits on our scripts, which is nice.
That is fantastic. Yeah, because you guys have done all the work. So yeah. So why don't you give them a little breakdown on what they are going to be getting into with this, without obviously too much information, because there's a lot to take in this issue. I started reading it. It felt like I knew where it was going, and then you guys sprinkle little things throughout
Yeah.
to give us hints at things that are happening outside of this ship, and in the greater world. So yeah, give us a little breakdown.
So if you want to get a vibe for what this is like, it's like Alien, it's like The Thing, it's a little like Annihilation. So it's this post-apocalyptic future where the environment has been destroyed. There's a lot of flooding, and this nuclear submarine is kind of a last refuge for humanity, and they're out searching for a place to have a new home, a new life, and they've been on this journey for a while, and they run into a wreck of another ship, and they think there might be survivors, and they show up, and there's definitely no human survivors. So let's put it at that. And then, horrible things are going to start to happen. It is, kind of a body horror, contained kind of in a submarine where there's no escape, and the surface is toxic. There's no place to go. So you get kind of that claustrophobic outer space thing without being in outer space.
Sorry, I had to stop shampoo from messing with Dylan, because Dylan's eye was hurt. I was listening, but it's definitely a sci-fi horror, and this gentleman's artwork is intense. It's got a very you're more of a European feel than your typical United States stuff. Where did you find him?
His name's Alex Sanchez, and we initially pitched this to Mad Cave with a different artist, and the artist had scheduling issues. So James Emmett, our editor, suggested him, and he's Alex is from New York, and I think James was familiar with him. He's done some Godzilla work and some other kind of monster and horror stuff. So we saw a couple of his pages, and so yeah, he's perfect for this. And like, you guys stick with the series. finishing up issue 5 right now, and sometimes, and I'm sure comic readers are familiar with this, sometimes the art in a series as it goes on gets a little bit worse, and sometimes art in the series as it goes on gets much better. And Alex started really, really strong, and he's just gotten better, especially with his monster designs and some of the really gross body horror stuff we have coming out. He really leaned into it and had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, Alex is a beast. It's colored by Kurt Michael Russell, who did colors on End After End, and he really uses the kind of a limited palette. You'll see a lot of blues, you'll see a lot of reds, and then
Speak of the devil, page 1.
Yes, a lot of blues and reds.
Blues and reds.
Yeah, and
which
then
makes sense because you're in a submarine. It's got the red
right.
light, the water. Yeah.
Yep. And then when you get to the monstrous stuff, that tends to go into this kind of green, kind of sickly green color. And so yeah, it's been really fun. The whole process has been great, and seeing it come out like in print, of course, is always so much better than looking at it a PDF on your computer. So I've been flipping through the first issue as well, because I just got my comps on Saturday. Yeah, so I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So it's always fun to see it, like, you start with this kernel of an idea in it, and then eventually you're holding a comic book in your hand. So that's pretty rad.
It is. Now, how much did you actually know about nautical stuff before you went into this? Because you throw a bunch of terms around, and I assume you did some research to make sure they were accurate.
I would credit Tim with most of the research. I'm not a research guy. I'm not a big fan, but I love submarine movies. So, like Hunt for Red October and Das Boot and whatever the one that has just letters, the UB 451 or whatever. Anything with the submarine, I will watch. I always thought it was pretty cool. So, I picked up stuff there, but yeah, Tim did a lot of research on nuclear subs and kind of how they work. And then we kind of just played it a little bit forward about like stuff that is in works or coming out. And so it's pretty grounded sci-fi wise until you get to the monsters.
I mean, but that's the fun part. No, yeah. I mean, you guys sold it well. I didn't look any of it up. I believed you.
Yeah.
This guy's like, what is it? High levels of hydrogen sulfide and methane.
There you go.
That sounds right.
well, that is the vents. So, I'm pretty obsessed with deep ocean stuff, both as something that horrifies me and something that interests me. I'm very fearful of the ocean and all the stuff that lives in there.
As you should be.
Yes, as I should be. So I've watched a lot of like specials on like deep ocean, on things that live around hydrothermal vents and things that survive in areas where you don't think anything can survive because there's really no oxygen and things like that. Yeah. So some of that was from just my old, nerdy memory, and some of that was from actual research.
Okay, nice. No, it was a fun issue. How many issues is this one going to be?
It's going to be 5. And
fun was not the right word.
Well,
no, that's not true. It started fun.
Yeah. Well, you want to have, again, you want to have some kind of character connection. You want to try in as few pages as possible, get the reader to care about the characters, right? Because if you're gonna do some horrible things to them, you want it to have some emotional impact. If it's just like, oh, there's this guy and then that guy, something bad happens to him, nobody really cares. So it's always a really fine balance when you're writing something like this that takes a little bit of a setup, right? You got to get the situation and have people understand, where they are, how to orientate themselves to the world of the book, the situation that the characters are in, then care about the characters, but not have that part be super boring, and then get to the cool stuff. But you have to care about the characters before you get to the cool stuff, or it's just a bunch of stuff that happens and nobody really cares. So that's the balance of doing a book like this, is like, okay, the first issue is quite a bit of setup. Let's see if we can get some, emotional attachment to the characters. And then, 2 through 5 really just pick up steam and just, we're going full bore into, the horror aspect. So yeah, it does. Issue 1 is a little bit of a setup, but I think it's still a fun, entertaining issue. It does have a little bit of suspense and like oh, there's something creepy, something weird's happening, and then we'll start to get more and more into the horror as the series goes on.
And there is the cover for issue 2, another beautiful
Yeah,
cover.
it's great.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And I'm really glad to hear that he's already working on 5, because that means
No
it'll be
delays.
done. It'll
Yeah.
be in the bag. It'll be month to month. And, not to bring up bad subjects, but I also want to assure everybody, because I've been hearing stuff in the store, people are very concerned. Mad Cave actually goes through Lunar,
Yep.
which means you will get all 5 issues. A lot
Yeah.
of people have actually been telling me, not a lot, I mean a handful, but that means other people are thinking about it.
Right.
They have actually canceled series that are coming exclusively through Diamond, because they
Yeah.
don't think
Yep.
they will get the final ones, which
Yeah.
means you do not have to worry on this one. You will get
No,
all of them.
and Mad Cave's they're really a very organized, very professional company. And a lot of times comic companies the people at the top are people that create comics, and creatives can be a little bit flaky sometimes and not the most organized people, and it's a run like a real solid business. It's a real company, and they're very professional, and they got all their stuff together. They're not going to announce a series until they know it's going to come out.
Good.
We were Morning Star. We were done with 100% of the art, not 100% of the colors and letters, but 100% of the line art before it was announced. And Crushed Up, we were done with issue 4 line art before it was announced. And here's a little preview for the people watching today. I'm going to have another series with Mad Cave that's probably going to be announced later this year, that the artist is working on the 5th issue right now. So it's you can be pretty confident if you're buying a Mad Cave book that it's going to come out when they say it's going to come out. It's going to be monthly if they say it's monthly, and then everything's usually done before they announce it.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. So David will be in the shop, Empire's Comics Vault, this coming Wednesday, the 19th at 9 a.m., signing books, talking to you about his other projects, what he has coming up, about this book. So please, if you'd like a copy, let me know. I can set it aside for you to make sure there is one, or just come in on Wednesday and pick one up. And hey there, Marvin, I see you there. And thank you for saying you're going to add that to your order. Please check it out. Marvin, of course, is another creator. So people
awesome.
Check him out. We've had him on the show too.
Cool.
So
I'm going to bring I'll bring some freebies of maybe some of my previous series. So people who buy Crush Depth at the shop, or have it in their pull box, are going to get a free comic from me as well.
Oh, well, more reason to check it out. You can find out more about some of the stuff he's done. Do you still sell your old independent stuff?
I have a trade of my 4-issue self-published relationship drama series. I have a trade of that. I have 1 or 2 of the singles that sometimes I'll bring to shows that I'll have at Empires. But I have a trade of that, and then have the book that Christopher Alvarez and I kickstarted.
Yes.
Dead Blood. Yes. Our 90s love letter, which is just, ridiculous and fun. And he's working on the 2nd issue right now. And it's just, I love it. And I'll have the 1st issue of that. I have 3 different covers of that, 2 different variants that I'll bring to the shop. I still have, I don't have some of my older anthology work. I just don't have it. It's all sold out. And but other than that, all my other self-published stuff I have.
Okay, great. Well, then you guys will have options when you see them. But most importantly, pick this new one up and check it out. And the other ones are in trade. Not Morningstar yet.
Morningstar trade came out. It came out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, and it's got to be on my shelf. So then I guess you can get all of them in trade.
And we almost sold out of Morningstar last time we did a signing. So maybe call Ben and reserve an issue if you don't know if you're going to make it early, because we were down. I think we were down to 3 copies of Morningstar at the end of the day last time I did a signing. So,
well, then this time we're going to end up with 0.
Let's go. Let's sell out.
Let's do it.
And we have a B cover too. I didn't get the B cover, but you got the B cover, right? With
I did, yes.
yeah, with Stockton native Ramon Villalobos doing the art
Yeah,
on the
Ramon's
cover.
awesome.
Yeah, so I always try to get my friends on projects as much as I possibly can. So yeah, Ramon's got an awesome B cover that you can pick up as well. It's a really killer. I didn't get any comps of that, so I'm kind of sad. I'm gonna have to buy some from you, Ben.
Nice. Oh, well, thank you very much, David. I will see you in just a few days. We're, 3 days from now, bright and
All
early,
right.
9 a.m. on New
Yeah.
Comic Book Day this Wednesday, the 19th, everyone. So message me, call me, let me know if you need a copy. Otherwise, come through and pick yours up, and we will see you guys this Wednesday.